guys, it's Holly here at Faces. Welcome back to the Face It podcast. Today I'm here with the lovely Monique from Peache Aesthetics. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast, lovely. Really great to have you on.
No, thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. So just to kick things off then, do you want to just give us a little bit of background into where your aesthetics journey started, how it all
Yeah,
started, and how you've built your business to where it is today?
yeah. I've been working within the NHS since 2017 when I graduated. And it just got to the point where I just thought I need something more. I need sort of something where I can use my clinical skills and knowledge, but something where I can have sort of my own flexibility. And I just thought I'd seen someone I was working with actually went down the aesthetics route, and I saw her and she was coming in part-time, but also really loving doing her aesthetics work. So I think that's where it stemmed from. And sort of the love she had for the job it really showed. And she showed me how she started. And I think from there, I just thought, what better way is there to use the clinical skills, be able to work for yourself, be more flexible, and obviously the financial sort of benefit as well is also lovely. But that's not the reason sort of you do it. It's more so sort of just being able to contribute to people in a positive way. And sort of I have my clients come in and there'll be insecurities about certain things, and then they'd come out and they'd be so confident. And I think that's just really what's kept me going to a place now where to be honest, I'm looking to leave the NHS and would love to just continue building this side of things. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So are you currently working part-time then in NHS, or did you cut your hours down?
Yeah, so I've cut my hours down. I'm working part time, and to be honest, the end goal is for this to then become sort of full time and do this, yeah, all the
Oh,
time really
amazing.
because I love it.
I can
Yeah,
literally tell, like, when you're talking, you're clearly so passionate about it. And it's almost
yeah,
like it just came at the right time for you, didn't it? You know, you were thinking about something else. Obviously, you met the person
yeah,
you're working with who was doing that. And now you're in the exact same
yeah,
position that they were in. And I think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
really quite a normal thing for people who working within the NHS to then just get to that point. You know, you've got the goal of, okay, going part-time, then you've got the goal of, you know, doing your aesthetics full time. And it's just slow and steady, isn't
yeah.
it? It's just gradually increasing your client base, gradually getting yourself out there.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's a gradual process. I must admit, sort of initially at the start, it was quite slow. And I think with time and also building sort of social media and sort of word of mouth, that's how it did grow over time. But initially I was sort of thinking, have I made the right decision? Especially with sort of when you go and do all of your training, they sort of tell you a lot about the complications that happen in terms of sort of what can happen with dermal fillers. And I think that initially does fill you with a lot of anxiety, but you just have to persevere. And I can say that I've sort of come through the other end, and I'm so glad that I did persevere with it.
Amazing. I know you touched on
Yeah,
building a client base, and a lot of that has been word of mouth, which is obviously always nice to get recommendations, but then the social media aspect as well. I
yeah,
think building the initial client base is what a lot of practitioners struggle with, because particularly if you're working part-time or working even full-time in your job, you know, having the time to constantly post and, you know,
yeah.
shout about your business is not often, you know, feasible. What more specifically has worked for you in terms of maybe little tips that you can give anyone who's struggling to kind of get there with their client base?
Yeah, I would just say consistency is the key. I would say that at least doing something on social media daily, if possible, whether it be a post, whether it be a story, whatever it is, a TikTok, because I think a lot of people think when you're starting, you don't have much content to go off, but actually, you really do. I think a lot of the time as well, people want to know about you, how you started, sort of, so they can trust you and build up that rapport sort of before even coming into the clinic. So I think even telling them about your journey, why you want to do it, sort of showing them sort of your setting up, that sort of thing, and also recording every treatment you do, one, so that you can refer back to it if there is anything that the client's sort of not happy with or any complications that arise. So you've got that to go off, but also it's all content. It's all good content that you can use, obviously with permission of your clients. But I would just record everything you do.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a really key point, particularly with how social media is now. I find myself watching like day in the life reels and people making their
Yeah,
coffee and setting their clinic up. And like you say,
yeah,
those are things that you'll be doing on a daily basis. Just
yeah,
prop a camera up or get a tripod and film
exactly.
it, put some music in the
Yeah,
background, and there you go, you've got a reel. And I think a lot of the
100%.
time, practitioners and people trying to do social media, they overthink it. They think that it has to be this glitz and glam and oh my god, like I don't know how to do this. But like you say, it's the simple things. It's your daily routine.
Yeah,
Even just chatting about different products and different treatments. And what you said around clients want to see you is such a key point, because
yeah,
I think these days it's not just the treatment that clients are looking for, it's the injector. They want
yeah,
to go on a journey with the injector and
yeah,
find someone that they can trust. And I think
yeah,
speaking from like a client's point of view, and from my opinion, I would say if there was two social media accounts, one with just loads of lips on or before and after pictures, and there's another one with, let's say, you educating your clients on treatments and products and talking about different things, I'd so much prefer to go to you.
yeah.
It
No,
has to be so
I
much more than the treatment, doesn't it, these days?
completely agree. And people do spend so much time on social media nowadays, and they are nosy. They want to know the ins and outs and what's going on, and sort of more about you. And like you say, building that trust. So yeah, I think that is a big thing. It doesn't necessarily always have to be about the treatments, but outside of that, what have you got going on? What's your day-to-day routine, etc. Yeah, people like that.
Yeah, 100%. And it doesn't take much time either. But just moving on
No.
to your treatments and your clients, Monique, what are you, first of
Yeah.
all, what's your sort of demographic with the current clients that you do have? And then
Yeah.
secondly, what treatments are you finding are super, super popular at the moment?
Yeah. So admittedly, mostly females, and around sort of 20 to 30s. That's sort of the range that I see quite often. Um, in terms of popular treatments, a lot of people do come to me for anti-wrinkle injections. That's something I particularly love doing. More recently, I'm sure you're aware, lemon bottle fat dissolving has become really popular as well. So I've been having sort of a lot of sessions of that. And obviously with the anti-wrinkle injections, that's every couple of months. But with the lemon bottle, people are coming in sort of weekly for treatments in that regard. And then something that I've seen sort of up and coming and becoming more and more popular is PRP. So I've been
Oh,
having
yeah.
quite a lot of people coming in for that as well recently as well.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
super popular, but I know it's not a treatment that everybody offers, which I think is a good thing, because this is my personal opinion. So no hate to anyone who's watching this, but I think I would prefer to go to a medically trained practitioner for a treatment like that,
yeah, of course.
because you're taking the blood, and I'm not great with a cannula stuck in my arm either. So
Yeah,
I think it's obviously one of those treatments that is a little bit more niche, and like not everybody does it,
yeah.
but I think that is a good thing, because it is very much like a medical treatment. Um,
It's taking blood, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, most of sort of the medical professionals do have sort of or the clinical skills to be able to do that comfortably and confidently. And I must admit, people that do come in and sort of, I think a lot of the time they worry about the taking bloods. But then you provide them sort of with you provide them with reassurance. You let them know that I do this sort of routinely for my full-time NHS job. I have these skills, and I think that does provide them with the confidence to then go ahead with the treatment. So I
yeah.
think that does come in handy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. How have you found, just on the PRP side of things, how have you found that quite easy to sell to your clients, both from social media and just speaking to them? Because it's not a glamorous treatment. you know, taking
Yeah.
the blood, spinning it, and then we're going to put all of your what is it that you put on it again? It's a plasma.
The plasma, yeah,
Yeah, we're then going to
back
put
into
your
the
plasma all over your
yeah.
face. Like it's just,
Yeah.
it's really not glamorous. So like, how do you sell it to people?
I mean, I think a lot of the time I say to them, a lot of people go and get skin boosters without even thinking twice about it. And I say, sort of, in comparison, you're having something that's sort of organic, it's natural, and it's from your body, obviously. And a lot of the skin fillers, skin boosters, sorry, attract a lot of water as well. So there's a lot more, I wouldn't say negatives, but with this, it's an organic procedure, sort of what better is to put back into your body than your own blood, really. So I sell it to them sort of in that way. And like I say, being a medical professional, I think it's easier to sell it as well.
Yeah.
But also showing them results ultimately, I think that's what gets them to go ahead with it as well.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
I've not heard too many people kind of talk. I'm just generally like interested because not many people kind of talk about that treatment. I think because it is a
yeah,
bit more niche, but I think it's certainly something that, you know, will stand you in good stead with being a medical professional for sure. Absolutely.
yeah,
Like I say, I would personally feel more comfortable with going to a medical practitioner for that specific treatment. And
yeah,
that's not to say, you know, I don't think non-medical professionals should do it. It's just that's my personal thoughts on it, really.
yeah, yeah.
Are there any other treatments that you are looking to train in, or that you've got booked in for training to add to your treatment list?
Um, so I've done quite a bit of training recently in terms of sort of advanced anti-wrinkle injections. I have to be careful not to say
And
the B word.
you know what, I say it all the time like it's nothing, and I'm like, not actually allowed.
Yeah. So I've done training for advanced anti-wrinkle injections and dermal fillers. So at this time, I'm spending a lot of time sort of consolidating that learning and putting it into practice. So because I've done quite a lot of training recently, I just want to focus on sort of getting that sort of like I say, consolidating that learning, putting it into practice, and then I'll sort of readdress doing more training once I've mastered all of that
Yeah.
100% sort of thing.
Yeah. What is it
Yeah.
that you feel you're kind of gravitating towards in terms of like your favorite treatments? Because I know obviously that so many practitioners just really do like a broad range of treatments and don't necessarily have
Yeah.
a favorite, but there are
Yeah.
obviously some people who like just love doing lips and that's their kind of specialty, or like
Yeah.
love doing like a contouring package. Like what for you is
Yeah.
your like kind of niche
For
and
me, it would have to be anti-wrinkle injections. I've never had anyone come in and have it and not be sort of happy with their results. I think generally sort of obviously in terms of the wrinkles it helps, but like I say, I have 20 to 30-year-olds come in and get the anti-wrinkle injections, and I think even generally the quality of the skin improves when you get the lifts from the eyebrows. I think there's so much that you can do outside of anti-wrinkle
yeah.
with this treatment that people sort of aren't aware of, and then they come in and have it and they love it and they're coming back and they're booking in their treatments for a couple of months down the line. Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
treatment. I love doing the most.
Yeah, amazing. It's very much like a gateway treatment. I call it, because it's like once you've had it, you're like, oh my God, like how did I not ever have this treatment? And,
Exactly,
and
it's
like you
exactly
say,
that.
it's so versatile as well, particularly now you've done the
Mm,
advanced training. Oh my God,
yeah,
there's so much you can do with anti-wrinkle. Like you've got your hyperhidrosis,
yeah,
lip flips. I love a lip flip.
yeah,
Masseter, which I need,
yeah.
I keep grinding my teeth. I need to get that redone because it's like really quite painful. Oh my
Well,
God.
it's functional. It's for functional use as well, isn't it? It's not always sort of cosmetic purposes, but yeah. So I really like anti-wrinkle injections. Like you say, I think it's more subtle than what dermal fillers is, and I'm always sort of prefer natural over anything. And I like the fact with that anti-wrinkle injections, you can give it 2 weeks, see the effect, and we can always add more and see how
Yeah.
you like it and tweak things here and there. Yeah, it's just my favorite treatment.
Yeah. Amazing. No, I love that. With regards to, obviously, we talked about sort of treatments that you are recently trained in that you're going to be adding, what are your kind
Yeah.
of main goals for the next 12 months? Obviously, we know that the main goal at the moment is to be able to be in a position where you can do your aesthetics full time. But do you have
Yeah.
like expanding aspirations, like training academy aspirations? Like, what are you thinking at the moment?
Yeah, ideally, I would love to sort of in the future be able to go into training. Particularly, I think a lot of people when they first start in aesthetics, I think it can be quite overwhelming in terms of like I touched on previously. Um, you're taught a lot of the complications initially, and I think that on top of the training and what you're taught and getting the depth right and the what muscles you need to be going into and what to avoid, etc. I think hearing all of that is I think it turns a lot of people off. But
Yeah,
if I were to be able to do the training and provide them with that comfort and support and knowing, no, continue, persevere with it, I'd love to be able to support people with those initial stages of sort of getting into the aesthetics industry,
yeah,
providing them with the comfort. I think some anxiety is naturally good because
yeah,
you can't come into this industry and sort of willy-nilly be injecting people not aware of the complications and sort of knowing how to treat those things. But I think for me, if I had someone to support me through that initial stage, I think it would have been a lot easier having sort of someone there that I could turn to if I needed to. And I'd love to be able to be that for someone else starting in the industry.
yeah. I think I'm seeing a lot of that on social media at the moment. A lot of people, like more experienced practitioners, are offering like mentorships and that kind of thing. But personally, I think the academies you train with should be offering that support.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you find that you didn't get that support from the academy you trained with initially?
Yeah, so initially the company I trained with, I didn't get that much support, I must admit. But then I joined Dr. Tim Pierce. He's
Oh,
yeah, so I did some complication training with him. Joined he's so he's got a lot of WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups, and that provided me with a lot of support. But actually, the only reason I went on and did that additional training with Dr. Tim Pierce was because I felt as though I didn't get that support with my initial training academy. So
yeah,
I think, and obviously these things aren't cheap either. They're expensive. So I think just being able to provide that support and comfort and being able to sort of get that all in one place rather than having, I don't know, maybe that was my personal experience, but being able to provide that support and get the knowledge and training as well all in one place would be ideal.
yeah, 100%. And you know, I hear it all the time where people are like, "Oh my God, like I'm trying to contact my academy, they're just ignoring me. Like I don't know what I'm doing." And there's two things here. First of all, like you say, it's almost inevitable that you're going to have questions after you finished your training. Nobody is going to
Yeah,
do a 3-day course and be an expert, regardless of
of
your
course.
background. Of course,
Yeah,
and if you don't have questions, I'd be concerned, to be honest, because you're not going to learn
yeah,
everything. But like you say, it's expensive. You know, academies should be offering that support. Like it
yeah,
shouldn't even be a question about it. It just should be happening. But also, I
yeah,
think of it from like a business point of view as well. I always think like, surely they want their students to return and do further training, but they're not going to return if you don't offer them support. So you're missing out on business opportunities. It just doesn't make any
yeah.
sense to me. But
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, this academy that I went to was it's quite a well-known one, and I suppose they have a lot of turnover and people coming in and doing the course and leaving. So maybe in that sense, they're not able to provide as much individualized support. And I think that's what's needed, really, was
yeah,
needed. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. But what I have found as well is the academies that I speak to now who are doing really well, they've always come from an academy that they didn't get that support, because then they
Yeah.
ensure that they make sure that all of their students just get one-to-one support, lifetime support. And I can tell that if the training side of things is something that you're gonna go into eventually, I can just tell that you will be a fantastic support for your students just based on the experiences that you've had. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where you get in the next sort of 12 to 24 months, definitely.
Thank you.
Just moving on to the Faces app then. So obviously you've used Faces
Yeah.
for quite some time, which is great. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. Do you want to just give us a little bit of insight into how it's helped with the runnings of your business and what features you like to use on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about this all day because Faces, the app has really, really helped me. So obviously, the consent forms, they are really good. And you have sort of your templates. Admittedly, I do change some things and make it more individualized to sort of what I would want to know about my patients. And I love that there's an option for that. So I do that and completing the medical forms as well on the app for my patients, and being able to email them over to them is so convenient and easy on the app as well. Um, Also in terms of the pharmacy on the app as well, it's really good that you've got everything in the same place. Being able to buy products from there as well, and keeping tabs as well of my expenditures and how much I have coming in. So I'm able to have a look at that as well on a monthly basis and sort of work out my earnings and where I could save things, where I may need to spend a bit more, that sort of thing. I like the new updates in terms of where you've got the timetable, so I can really keep an eye on sort of
Yeah.
my appointments throughout the month and what I've got going on. There's lots of things on there. I like the fact that I'm able I like the fact I'm able to send out big emails, so broadcast emails to all of my clients. So whether it be sort of about deals I've got going on, or whether it be about requesting reviews from them, I like the fact that I'm able to do that. And send out reminders for appointments as well through the app. So there's a lot of things on there that I really do
Yeah.
like. It's just, I think it's sort of a one-stop shop for everything really I
Yeah.
need aesthetics wise in one place. And like I said on my story yesterday, it really does keep me in check. Like it
Yeah.
helps me be time efficient, just helps things run more smoother basically.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for the feedback. I mean, I'm not being biased because obviously I'm with Faces, but I agree with everything
Yeah,
you're saying. You know, sometimes I think like, how do practitioners without Faces do it? Like it's just there's so much admin and
yeah,
so time consuming as well. But like you say, it's
yeah,
all under one roof, everything you need. Obviously, it's free as well. So any new practitioners
yeah,
don't need to worry about, you know, forking out not a thousand, £100 a month for a software. You know, a lot of other
yeah,
apps do cost a lot of money, whereas, you know, ours is free, but we've
yeah,
also got all the resources you need, and it's only just going to keep getting better and better. So yeah, lots of exciting
yeah.
things to come.
From the time I've started using it, there has been a lot of sort of updates. And initially, when I first started using it, sometimes it was a little bit difficult of where to put information. And I think with the updates that have been made and me using it more, I find it really easy to navigate around where to find bits of information and how to use it.
Yeah, and the feedback we get is so listened to. So, you know, that was one thing which a lot of people were kind of struggling with, was like, you know, I'm trying to find how to do something and like I don't know how. Whereas we use that feedback and give it to our developers, and then we make it better. So we're running a lot of updates. So you probably have to update your app like every few weeks at the moment. But
Okay.
it's all for a good reason. So so yeah, thank you so much for that lovely testimonial. It's really, really nice. Just moving on to the regulations. Obviously we've had the traffic light system released from the government and the consultation. What are your thoughts on regulation and what's been said, just based on obviously your background and, you know, being in the aesthetics industry now?
This is a difficult one. I think it's quite controversial. I think, like we say, in terms of being sort of medical professionals, I think underlying everything, we have those sort of clinical skills and the background in terms of our um, anatomy and knowledge in that regard. But on the other hand, um, I do see a lot of sort of non-medical. To be honest, I have a good friend actually who's a non-medical, and if anything, she goes above and beyond and does extra learning because she's conscious of that, and she knows that she doesn't have all of the knowledge that maybe us healthcare professionals do. Um, but then on the other hand, I know that there are a lot of practitioners out there that maybe don't have the knowledge and maybe wouldn't know where to go for if there were complications or things going on. And ultimately, I think the safety of our clients is what is at the underlying all of this. But I think it's difficult to say. I think basically it's a individual case by case
Yeah,
to know. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
difficult to put
yeah, yeah,
broad blanket over everyone in terms of the industry, because everyone does work so differently, and
yeah,
everyone has specialist areas and comes from different backgrounds. So it is difficult, but I understand that's difficult then, isn't it? Again, to be
yeah.
able to look at everyone on a case by case basis.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with
Yeah,
you. Yeah, I agree with you because it's like, okay, so someone who's a non-medical professional who's been doing aesthetics for 15 years, who runs a successful clinic, who puts their patient
yeah,
safety first, why
yeah,
does that make them in the same, why does that put them in the same pile as someone doing Botox in the or toxin in the kitchen, like
yeah,
using
completely.
all
Yeah,
sorts of different dodgy products. Like they're not the same. But then I think on that note, it's almost like the government have gone, well, all medical professionals have the right to do this. But
yeah,
actually there are also medical professionals who don't who might behave as they should within a hospital setting, but they don't within an aesthetic setting. So I think it's like
yeah,
you say, there's no one size fits all, which I think is what
yeah,
is frustrating for everyone.
yeah. I
But
also think that there are other things that they could do to sort of safeguard patients, which they outside of the box. So, for instance, in terms of sort of dermal fillers being easily accessible, but then a prescription is required for hyaluronidase. So, how does that make sense, sort of thing? I
yeah,
think there are other things that can also be addressed outside of the regulations as well.
yeah,
But
definitely.
obviously that's opening Pandora's box, and
I know.
that's a whole.
Yeah, it is wild though. Like I'm a non-medical professional, nor am I trained in aesthetics, so I don't have aesthetics insurance. I can go online
Yeah,
and buy a box of dermal filler delivered to my door, which
exactly.
comes with a syringe and a needle.
Yeah,
There's only
exactly.
one purpose for that, which is to inject into your face or body. Uh,
Yes.
yeah.
So I
Anyway,
think we do. We need to look at these other things like accessibility to these things and yeah, like you say, yeah, I think we could go on for ages talking about this, but
yeah. Yeah, well, we'll cut it at that. But no, it's just always good to get everyone's different opinions and things as well, because it's obviously quite a
yeah.
hot topic at the moment. Just to finish on a more positive note, then, is there a specific event or a specific client you've treated within your aesthetics career, or like a moment that you look back on, which just makes you think, like, do you know what? I'm so proud of where I've come, and I'm so happy with what I'm doing in my career and my business.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest with you, I think being able to go into that part-time role of leaving the NHS and like I say, it was a gradual process over time building up those clients. But actually, for me to be able to go part-time, it was a massive thing. It shows that I'm doing something right, and it shows that I'm getting there, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that was the big turning point for me.
Yeah, amazing. And it's a real milestone, and your next milestone will be, handing your notice in. And obviously
Yeah,
the great thing about, being a healthcare professional is you can go back at any point. You're not gonna, your skills are not wasted. Obviously, your skills are so relevant within the work you do as an aesthetics practitioner, but you can go back to the NHS if you want to.
we
So
will always be in demand as
yeah.
nurses. We'll
Oh my
always be in
God,
demand. So yeah.
always. But it's great that, you finally found that extra something that you were looking for. So
Yeah.
huge congratulations, Monique, on everything you've achieved. I cannot wait to see what you get up to in the next 12 months. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I've absolutely loved it.